Now just think about that. That's kind of a ridiculous notion, isn't it? But now think about this. Now I'm a mailman, and I go around town delivering. Now when you go on those medians, when you see the medians with plants, I mean, how many times is a city worker out there, or the owner that owns the median next to the building, watering the flowers there? How many times do you see the gardener going up into the edge of the forest, watering the big oak or the big fir tree? You don't really see it very often. And so that caught my eye. I was thinking, well, we have in gigantic forests across the entire planet, and nobody's watering them. How are they staying? How are they growing? Well, I found out through a guy up in Squim how he waters. He only had in Squim, it hardly ever rains. I mean, they get a lot, 16 inches a year or something like that. But at his property, he only gets half a gallon an hour of water. So how in the world is he going to have this garden? That's probably one of the most luscious gardens, individual gardens, in the state. And so what he came up with was you create a ground cover. And if you go out in the forest, you have a ground cover. You can look underneath that and you can see all the little, tiny little pieces of wood and dirt, and some of the wood has become dirt. So anyway, I decided I'd try this little routine. And so I had a 40-foot tree in my back, and I figured, well, it's gonna cost $700 to cut that down, so I got a friend named Bear, and he did it for $150. And of course, he's this logger type, and he brought all the old cork boots and came up there, and he had this little saw, and of course, my backyard is very small, right? And this is 40 feet. And so he's just up there and he just takes his saw and he has it running around. He kicks the branch on both sides until the branch kind of drops and then comes down. He didn't hit my house once except on the gutter. It was a miracle. It was truly the most spectacular thing I'd ever seen. And so I had all my kids, I had 8 kids out there, well, not the babies, of course, but all my kids, especially my son, he got the brunt of the act because I said, I want all this cut up in this many lengths. So we actually got all the tree parts cut in the proper lengths, and I actually had him take all the limbs that you would not use for firewood and cut them up for kindling. So it's all there nice and neat, just ridiculous. And so it's all there. And my buddy came over yesterday, and he said, I need some firewood. I said, hey, I got some great firewood, it's all dried out. And he came over there and says, because he's a real neat freak, he goes, man, I'm so impressed. He goes, you do this? And my son went, I did. Because I made him do it. Well, anyway, back to the gardening. So anyway, I finally get all this, the tree out. The stump actually cost more to get rid of than the tree. That cost me $200. So I dug out the stump and took everything out. I had grass laid down, and so from Pat Palmer gave me some newspaper. I put about 6 inches of newspaper all over the grass part, brought in about 2 inches of some dirt from Swanson. Well, then I go to the city of Walmy because this guy from Squim said that in order to have this great garden, you need to have a ground cover that's about 6 inches deep, right? Of this mulch, of not just one size, but various, just like out in the forest where you grab that, you'd see different sizes. So I go to the city, and me and out there by Roy Morris. So me and my daughter, we get this, it's like a yard trailer. And we're out there in January just digging this thing. Like 3 hours later, I'm going, there's no way I can do this to get all this stuff. Like, I would have to work 12 hours back-breaking labor just to get all this stuff back to my house. So I asked the city of Columbia, I said, hey, how do I get you guys to get a backhoe back here, right? He says, well, where do you live? And I said 457. He says, well, how much do you need? I said, about 4 yards. He says, what time do you need it? Huh? I said 7:30. He said, I'll be there. So the city of Longview guys just showed up at 7:30 because I asked for it. The most perfect mulch. I said, what do you want? He said, I'll take the oldest stuff you got. So it's been 10 years there composting. He pulls it up in the bag, dumps it all over. Me and my son just go ahead and just put it out nice and neat. It looks the most beautiful. Now the problem is my dog, right? Because I have a dog. And you got to have a dog when you live down where I live. So I had to get that, what is it, that fluorescent orange fencing that the city uses, because I was too poor to just put up a cedar fence. So I put that up, and we're just praying, my dog's just, I'm thinking, oh, is it going to cross over and get in there? They never did. So eventually I plant my seeds, And the deal is that when you have this mulch, you kind of go down and make your little trough, and then you plant the seed down in there. Well, where we live, down there, it floods all the time, so I didn't need to water in the first place. I mean, there's just super moist, right? So I plant my peas. Well, they came up, I never planted once. I never watered once with these peas. They grew up 9 feet high and collapsed the entire frames that I had. It was amazing. Then I planted my green beans in the worst part of the lawn, and it kind of took about a month for them to kind of get ready because they were slightly light green, and all of a sudden something happened, like they just hit the taproot, and they had this most luscious green you could ever imagine, and it just skyrocketed, and we just had so much of this, and the whole time I hadn't watered once. I was like, and I go down there, it's like, well, we had a couple of 85 degrees, or several 85 degrees in July, and I go down there, and I take my finger in the dirt, and about that far into